One of the questions people ask about these stories, they say these stories are from so long ago. How are they relevant to us? And you just described that the whole world was different. Yeah, the whole world was different, but the end goal and purpose was the same. And the nature of humans and what humans really need didn't change. Their obstacles were different, their solutions were different, but the values and purpose and what they want is the same. And this is why these stories aren't just for us as Muslims. These all prophets are for all humans. Humans, whether east or west, have the same values. They have the same desires. They have the same needs. And what revelation came to those people in the past was to free them from the yoke of these demons and to free them from worshiping a limited creature that does not want your best interest, likes to mock you, wants to see you destroyed. And that's why the conquests of prophets are called liberations. Is you're being liberated from what you think is a god that's actually a great source of harm for you. And that's why this is what the people in the West, when they say Islam is not compatible with the West, all humans end up having the same core needs. And prophets are showing us how to fulfill these needs and desires in the easiest, best, fastest, and long-lasting ways. And that's why everybody needs the stories of prophets. And we say, okay, well, why can't it all be summarized in one prophet? Well, in a sense, for us, at the end of time, it is summarized in one prophet. But also human beings, they have something of melal. Things get stale to them, and they want different flavors. And Allah has been generous to us. Like the foods that we eat could have been one protein, or it could be one food that had everything, had carbohydrates, protein, and everything. That's not how humans are. We want a variety. And so the prophets offer us a variety of different flavors of virtue. And we're going to see right now in this session here that the virtue of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam is extremely unique. He's not what most prophets would be in the future. The Prophet Yusuf and the Prophet Daniel, they are parallel prophets. They're on the same track. They have the same virtues and they face the same kind of enemy. Now, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, his entire life, he's extremely gifted, we all know. He was the most handsome person ever for Allah to create. Only Sayyidah Aisha said the Prophet was more handsome than him, except that Allah covered him or veiled him with awe, with majesty, so that the female followers of the Prophet would not feel lust towards him, because then that would negate their iman. That would be a flaw in their iman. And the male companions wouldn't be able to follow him. They would be angry with him, right? So that's the wisdom in that. You notice Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam did not have a following, right? He just had his family. So he has a different obligation. So the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he has half of beauty according to the Prophet, peace be upon him. Ultiya shatr al-husn. In all of the creation, from the mountains to the trees, to the moon, to the humans, to the women, all added up, that's half of beauty. And Yusuf is the other half. Prophet Yusuf from the start was extremely intelligent, and from the start was chosen by Allah. So from the realm of intellect, from the realm of beauty, from the realm of spiritual rank, he's at the top. Therefore his father, Yaqub, primed him from the beginning. Hide as much of this as you can, because people will plot against you. He warned him of his number one enemy, which is Kaid. Nobody can stand in front of you. With your qualities, nobody can defeat you. He had a very sound mind. Most times, if a guy is handsome, you think he's an airhead, right? You hope he's an airhead. He can't have too much, right? Honest, right? When you see a guy at the gym, coming out of the gym, you make yourself feel better. He's probably very low IQ, right? When you see a guy who's really rich, he's also ugly, right? We make ourselves feel better like this, and then I don't have to have hesed for you. Have as much money as you want, because you're missing all these other things, okay? When someone is handsome and rich and he's fit, you say, yeah, but he has no iman, right? He's got no deen. He's got no spirituality. We always, human beings, have hasad built inside of us, and we try to balance people out. But what happens when somebody finally has it all? He actually has it all. Spirituality, you're not doing better than him. He's a son of a prophet, grandson of a prophet, great-grandson of a prophet, and he's the chosen one amongst the whole family. You look at his body, absolute perfection. And you consider his mind, he's at the top. So much so, he's running the minister, the Aziz's house. He's going to run the whole household by 15. By age 15, he runs the whole house. The difference in ages. We say this, it all started when he was 7. Around 7. Child, a boy. That's when he said, don't tell your siblings. In the Jewish story, they put him at like 17. But we would say, no, at 17, you're going to know better. Not that wise to go and tell them of this great dream when you're 17. Secondly, when you're 17, how are they going to put you in the well and you can't climb out? Right? It's not so. And then secondly, he lives 10 years at the Aziz's house from 17 to 27. He's resisted. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense, because he would have been desirable way earlier than that, than 27. For the wife of the Aziz to chase after him at 27, well, why not 25? So we say, no, he was most likely a boy when this all happened. But Prophet Yaqub, he saw from the fatana of prophets, no one will ever stop this boy. The only people who will try the only way they'll try to destroy him is to scheme behind his back. And he is a prophet who has a very unique status, that the elites and the most powerful people at every stage of his life are with him, not against him. But it still doesn't protect him from the will of Allah. So in his first stage, he's with his father Yaqub and his brothers. Who's the leader? Yaqub. And his brothers are his equals. Yaqub is with him. His brothers are against him. The stronger one is with him. The weaker one is against him. Next phase of his life, he's in the house of the Aziz. The Aziz loves him. The wife lusts after him and plots against him when he says no. Who's the more powerful one? The Aziz. But she dug a hole for him and a plot and a plan against him and lied about him and all that stuff. Then you fast forward, and he's in the jail. This is the third phase of his life. Believe it or not, in the jail, the jailer, the warden of the jail, loves him too, to the point that he elevates him as a prisoner to his assistant. So when the warden goes home, he says, Yusuf, you're in charge of the whole jail, while he's one of the prisoners. And yet it's the prisoner who forgets him and then remembers him later. Now, it's not a scheme. We can't call that a scheme. But in every phase of his life, the powerful people are with him, but it doesn't protect him from Allah's will, because the prisoner still forgot to talk about him to the king. So he stayed in jail longer. Then you finally go to the fourth position, where he works for the king. The king loves him, elevates him first to the minister in charge of the food and agriculture. We would call that minister of agriculture today. Then he elevates him to full prime minister. You're in charge of the whole kingdom. In my name. Whatever you decide, I'm with it. Stamp of approval. And then who plots against him? Now, this part's not in the Quran, but it's in other sources. Who plots against him? The other ministers, the other Egyptian, the other Hyksos people. These were the Hyksos people, they were called. They're actually from Shem, or some say Arabia, the edge between Arabia and Shem. So they call them white Arabs. Shoam, basically. And they come down and they rule over Egypt. So like, he's not one of us. He's a Hebrew. But how's he prime minister? And they plot against him as well, to the point that the king has to give him a piece of land called the Goshen Valley, east of the Delta. He gives him that land, and it's not a good piece of land, but the king is cornered into it because he's about to have a rebellion. So again, in the fourth phase of life, the king is with him, and the ministers plot against him. We're going to see the same exact thing happen to Daniel later on. So the lesson here is that the story of Prophet Yusuf is extremely unique. He is an unstoppable human being, but he doesn't have to face a big enemy and fight. No, he faces schemers and plotters. Weak people have to scheme and plot. They can't face you head on. And their schemes and their plots work, yet that just brings about something better for him. It brings about something far better. Even when the minister schemed and plotted, it was better for him because it forced all the Hebrews to live under him, and he became like their chief and their sheikh, and he guided them in deen and in dunya. Whereas before, he would have been busy with administering the whole kingdom, and he would have been too busy for Bani Israel. Right? So that was actually every single plot and scheme was for him, not against him. So this was the difference here, is that hasad, when it comes to a person, we all try to avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable.